What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. And I'm excited for tonight. We have a good friend of ours that's going to be on and have a good discussion. We're going to have some fun, and we've been off for almost a week now. We've had a little break, so it's good to be back at it. So I am your host, Oz. I'm here to hang out tonight and hang out with you guys. And my co-host tonight, next to me here, is just Jeff, and or Jeff tonight, just Jeff.
I guess and, whatever.
How's your weekend going, man? How was your week?
Pretty shitty. You know, just a normal week of work. So, but I'm off in a week, and I'm going to be doing nothing. So I can't wait.
I'm feeling the positive vibes, bro.
I know, isn't it? Yeah. You know, everybody gets that week before vacation, like, I don't want to do anything. That's where I'm at. I just want to already be on vacation.
Oh, so you have a vacation plan?
I have. In a week, I will be gone, and then I'm off for 2 weeks. And I have not had any time off from work during COVID. So since February, I have had no more than 4 days off in a row. So I am stoked to finally have 2 weeks off.
Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I just got back to work after over 4 months.
Yeah, rub that in.
Off. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of positives from it as far as family time and being with the family and all that. But when you're when you're a professional, especially in sales, you're used to grinding and getting after it. 4 months is a long time. You forget a lot of stuff. So I feel like just today, I think 3 weeks back now, just today, I finally got my mojo back, so to speak, and got in my groove. But anyway, let's get into the website and the merch and all the fun stuff that TART has to offer on the interwebs. Jeff, tell everybody about what TART has to offer.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So browsing to the website, which is TART.live, right up here, you can go to the shop and go shopping. Now we have some new items on there, as I've mentioned before. So they're kind of new. The limited edition UDAS t-shirt is still available if you need to get one of those. And of course, we have our tumblers and stickers and bracelets and all of those things which are on here. And we are adding new stuff, or we are putting new things in the queue all the time. Also, while you're there, check out the schedule. You can see what we have coming up over the month of August, and we got one in September here already. So take a look there, mark your calendars, be ready for that. And then also, if you want to be on the show, sit at the round table. It's right here. Hour and a half for you. You can come on. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, really, to an extent. So let Austin let you see if you're going to be the right fit. Give us an email. You can also check into some of our previous podcasts here. A lot of good. Why is Tommy Benson listed on that screen? Anyway, so a lot of good content here. Of course, that's going to throw me off seeing that. So a lot of good stuff here that you may or may not have seen in the past. So yeah, check out the site. And back to you.
And back to us.
Yeah,
back to us. And wow, all of a sudden my light got messed up on my screen. But. No, so the website we're updating all the time, and Jeff does a good job of always going through each part of it. So the merch store and how to sign up, and the one thing that I'm trying to do better at keeping updated is the I guess the most relevant links for our YouTube page, and making sure that people see our most popular links on there, to the shows that we've had. So try to stay on top of that. And then the one thing. Well, two things that we didn't talk about. One we'll say now, and then when our guest comes on, we'll talk about the second one. But Patreon, that's one thing that one area that's where you can really have an impact on what we do at TART, at the Atheist Roundtable, and make an impact on your own, and investing into whether it's our equipment and everything, but what a lot of people don't realize is we actually give back to the atheist community and even theists, that if they are, in a place where they can't afford podcast equipment or things like that, like we love to help people and love to help people get better, one way or the other. And when you do that, that enables us to continue to give to other people. and we want to continue to do that. And now, speaking of people helping people,
gifts.
I got a really, really cute gift basket this week. And there's this guy named Jeff that sent me this really cute gift package this week. And the one that you can't see because I'm using it is a 1,000 foot.
That's 100
Ethernet cord. 1,000 foot Ethernet cord. I know. He sent me.
You went all the way to the inner city to plug it in.
I did. My fiance was like, "Why are you walking all the way to the neighbor's house to plug in the Ethernet?"
Free internet, right?
But he sent that, and that's going to be a huge help as far as our feed, because I do have a very, very large family, a fiance, and we have 6 kids together. So when we're trying to broadcast and there's a lot of shit going on, sometimes that Wi-Fi signal can get a little fuzzy. So we shouldn't have that issue anymore. And so on a serious note on that, thank you, Jeff, for saying that. That should be a benefit to myself and the channel. But now we have the funny stuff, because as we all know, Jeff is the troll and he likes to be funny. He likes to be cute. So the first thing we have is a bread knife.
I did send that. It's a 12-piece set, but actually only 6 knives and 6 sleeves. Somehow they count that as a 12-piece set.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're very colorful knives. Like
ceramic.
Yeah, and they're great. And Tia loved them. She was like, he actually sent us really good knives. So I got a batch of knives. And here's where it gets good. Like the Ethernet and the knives are actually practical with having a big family. We can use those things. But he sent me a meal kit. I don't know if you can see that on there. A meal kit ticket, where I guess he assumes that I don't know how to cook for myself, and that they just send me food that I pop in a microwave, and I guess it's supposed to be good for me. This isn't even the best one yet. Then I got a Nerf gun, and the highlight of that is it's called Micro Shot. So I don't know if this was like there's a level of sarcasm applied here, Jeff, but that part is not.
Think.
But the funny thing is, between all of us here, because I don't think you'll ever hear it, my stepson collects Nerf guns. So this will stay in the package, and this will be regifted.
Okay. All right. Until he sees
what he does. Yeah, I don't know if I'll see it, but he actually takes them apart, puts them back together, and makes them better. He's like a really smart kid. But I don't shoot micro shots.
I know you have 6 kids.
And then I'm gonna save the best one for last. But so first of all, I felt like this was a huge funny on Jeff's part. So first movie, I got a stack of DVDs from Jeff. The first one is Brokeback Mountain. I have no idea why he would ever send that to me. This is a great movie about 2 friends that are cowboys that love to hang out.
There's nothing wrong with
hang out.
I just thought it was
I have no idea why he even sent me this movie. I'm clueless. So this one, that one's done. But this, now we're getting to the meat of things. Son of God. Now that we've done the reveal, I can't wait to watch this, because I've never even heard of this guy before.
Neither have I.
I don't know a God, and so I definitely know his son. So I'm really interested. And this one, the Passion of the Christ.
It's super accurate. Mel Gibson made that movie.
This one should be good. And the reason I know it's going to be good is because Mel Gibson is the greatest Christian to ever walk the planet.
True. He's like a beacon of hope in a terrible world.
Yeah. So I know this is going to be good, and I know this is going to be 100% accurate to the Bible. Like 100%. I already know that it's going to be 100% accurate to the text. Mm-hmm. So I am.
It starts out with white Jesus, so you know they're really pinning it on.
Boom.
Perfect.
Boom. So I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you so much for the gift basket. And really, what I appreciate the most is
now what you don't know is that there is one more DVD, but it was delayed.
Oh,
I don't know where it is at this point, but it should show up at some point, and we're probably going to forget about it, and then it will show up, and it is probably the best of all of those DVDs, and it didn't show up, so we'll just have to wait for a future. They call that a hook. We'll explain that in a future episode, so stick around.
That's awesome. Yeah, so no, it's good, but no, Jeff, I appreciate it because the humor that we do have as a group is. A lot of people don't get to see that because most of our conversation is serious. But the knives and the Ethernet cord are absolutely gonna get put to use, and the Nerf gun will actually get put to use as well. But let's not waste any more time. I want to bring some other folks on the screen here. So the first person I'm going to bring on, the newest addition to the TART roster, the TART squad, and we're excited to have him on and be a part. Ben G, what's up, man?
What's up? I was expecting like a round of applause going on in the background or something, but this is fine too. No, the moment has ended. The moment is over. It's all good.
Hopefully you heard it in your head.
Oh yeah,
the applause in your head, you're good.
That's how you know it's real. Yep.
No, but Ben, thanks for joining us tonight and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to have some good conversation, and it's been cool to continue to get to know you. And I think you're going to have a blast talking with Ethan tonight, and we'll get that started here in a minute. But without further ado, I want to introduce our guest for the night, and this is someone that when I say we, Jeff, myself, and Pasta have met via our Discord, and I've got to know. And he's just a good dude. He's fun to talk to. He's a chill guy, and we're gonna have a bunch of fun with him. Ethan, better known online as Spartan Theology. What's up, man?
Hello. Yeah, thank you. See, I get the round of applause. So I appreciate it.
How are you feeling tonight, man?
Pretty good. I've been excited for the show for a few days now, so yeah, excited to have a good conversation.
Well, I'm glad you only got excited a few days ago. That's cool.
Well, yeah, I just had to keep it down. I couldn't get too excited. But
appreciate that. And then Pasta, I know he's here. And Pasta, whenever you're ready to pop in, sir, please do so. But where I'd like to start before we get into the belief conversation is Ethan and Jeff. Let's talk a little bit about the Discord, because I know that's where a lot of these relationships have started. Jeff, I'll let you start. You own the Discord, Talk Religion.
If there is such a thing as an owner,
you're the owner. Sure. First of all, tell us about the Discord, and then we'll just have a short chat about that, and then go on from there.
So yeah, the Discord is a place where we can have hosted discussions about certain debate topics. So we have things there from Christian to Islam to Judaism, all kinds of different perspectives from different people. And those different perspectives can give you a lightning round in speed dating of epistemology, and also see some of the same arguments or anti-arguments, if you want to look at it that way. Just a large exposure to a lot of people. I think we're up to about 700 some odd members at this point, all from different backgrounds. So this is not a space for atheists or Christians or Jews or whatever. It's not a space like that. It's for everybody to use, to have discussions. And for the most part, I think we've had some really good voice talks. We've had some debates. We'll host debates and also try and get some community involvement in discussion topics. So like tomorrow, we're having a discussion topic tomorrow night, a community discussion about what it means, or how does an individual find truth? How do you define truth or in your life? And what processes do you go to find that truth? So that's going to be our community topic tomorrow. And I'm interested to see what a lot of the user base has to say about how they define truth.
No, that's one thing that I have enjoyed about Jeff Discord and and being a part of it. And I try to as much as I can. And with doing this and working crazy hours and having a really big family, as I already announced, it is tough for me to get on there. But I try to get on there as much as I can. But Ethan, what I would ask you, because Jeff obviously is going to be very, very slanted, being an atheist, on what and how his Discord operates. As a theist that is not just there, but you've been there for a while now, and you are very engaged in that channel. What is your perspective? What is your view on Let's Talk Religion and our Discord that we share together?
Yeah, so I joined Discord a good while back. It's been a number of months now, and first coming in there, I've been on a few other Discords, but not too much. But this one was really good. There was a really good mix of atheist Christians, and I really met some good people. It was really cool to like be. It's like it's gotten a lot bigger now, but even still, it's like there's always a lot of the same people on, so you can really like follow up on conversations, which I think is super helpful. You can get on Twitter and start a war with anybody, but after that, you may never talk to that person again. But I've actually gotten to know, I got to know Oz and Jeff and a lot of people in Pasta Mike through the Discord. So that's been awesome. And then plenty of other people like Pluto, if you get in there, who's super active. And I'd say Pluto's my friend now. That's like really cool. I've like actually made friends through Discord, which is really good. And then the conversations, you got the voice chats, which are awesome. And then you got the text chats, which, you can actually like think through your arguments. I think a lot of something, if you're new to these debate scene or, talk about this stuff, the text chats are really a good place to, you can like think through your answers and whatnot and think through your arguments. You don't have to respond in like 1 second like you do in a voice conversation. So that's really awesome. So that's a good place to start. I mean, yeah, it's just been great. So definitely check it out. I mean, can't hurt to just come in here. And I know these guys have talked about it a lot too. Like if you're worried or you want to try it out, I mean, start an account, make a random name and come in there and talk. And if you feel like,
Absolutely.
No, they made me feel stupid, just leave. It's not that hard. So
or make a new account and nobody will know.
Yeah. So nothing to lose and you can learn a lot. So
no, great insight, Ethan. And yeah, and Jeff has said that over and over again. I've said that I think all of us have. Like if you're questioning, doubting, or you're searching for something, create a fake ass account and go there and have the conversation. That's the beautiful thing about the interwebs and having a Discord, is you don't have to reveal who you are, where you're at, and what's going on. I think that is I think that's amazing that you can have that, because I wasn't aware of that through my process. Like I had no idea that kind of thing existed, or I would have taken advantage of it. So
they didn't have internet when Oz was going through it. He's kind of old.
Pause to mute him. I'm trying. But before I go on to the next question regarding the Discord, I saw Velasa Lobster in the house. What's up, Velasa Lobster? Good to see you there, man. But before I go to the atheist, I'll ask Ethan first. That way, everybody knows I'm playing fair. But Ethan, I would like to ask you the same thing that I actually ask atheists a lot of times. What would you, I guess, what would be your advice for a theist or a believer that is kind of on the fence, and maybe they've stepped into some skepticism and they're questioning and they're doubting? From your point of view, what would be your advice? How would you try to guide them?
Yeah, so one thing I definitely tell people is all truth is God's truth. If God exists, then I don't know why you're afraid of the truth. And a lot of people seem to be. So searching for the truth, as long as you're honest, just search for the truth. I don't know. People get scared, like, oh, I have these beliefs, and what if they're not true? And if they're not true, then why would I want to believe them? So, don't be afraid of the truth. Be willing to, open your mind. You could be wrong about certain things, or certain things that you think are crucial to your belief may not be near as crucial. Just be willing to be honest, intellectually honest, and have conversations with a lot of people. And where it leads, like I said, all truth is, if God exists, then there's nothing to be afraid of. You can't fight. If you get it wrong, I mean, you should be. You don't like. I don't know. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid of the truth. That's really all I'm trying to say. And be willing to have conversations with all kinds of people. It definitely understanding other people's point of view has, in my experience, like coming on online and really having these conversations, like so much of the disagreements are misunderstandings. So just be willing to have conversations with people, learn their point of view, and just don't be afraid of the truth. That's my advice.
And Ethan, would we both agree as an atheist and a theist that truth really has nothing to fear in the midst of an investigation, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, people are biased or whatever, and you can have like wrong ways of going about it, don't just like, but whatever, just be intellectually honest, learn things like learn about epistemology, learn about science if that's what you're interested in. I mean, there's so much to learn. Don't think that like, I know my opinion, and I mean, I could definitely be wrong, but I know like nobody goes to hell because they like make a wrong decision one time. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're a Christian, don't be afraid to like investigate these things and just see where it leads you. Don't necessarily make the conclusion before you do the investigating, but don't be afraid to search for truth.
But Ethan, do you know that they don't go to hell? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Bro, I know I'm going to hell, and Islam is true, I guess. So,
well, I, for the record, whichever religion may be true, if it comes out to be true, I have a VIP section in the pit of hell, and everyone's invited if you want to party with Oz. You can come hang out with me. But Jeff, I'm going to propose the same question to you now on the other side of the spectrum. As an atheist, a person that lacks belief in a God or of a God, if there's somebody on the fence and they're questioning and they've now started to walk or put their feet into skepticism, what's your advice? What would you, how would you guide them, I guess?
I would. So one, I don't think that I have the right answers. So understanding that I don't think that there's going to be a singular individual that can give you all of the correct answers for your life. And that truth journey is yours and yours alone. So the first thing I would ask is, how do you, like, what process do you go about to define truth in your life? How do you know what you know, and why do you believe what you believe, and how do you know that it's true? I'm not here to guide or give someone an answer. I'm here to guide you on a process to find an objective truth. If that makes sense. So I don't set out with the goal of like, I'm going to convert them to atheism. Like that's not the goal. The goal is to examine how you think and if that process is a good process for discovering truth. And I'm with Ethan. Like, the truth is good. Like, if I were to discover that the truth means that there's a God that is real, that's fine. Like, I'm not adverse to that. And in fact, I might even be a little biased towards that still, because I was a former Christian and I still kind of want that to be true. And I know that. So I just want to examine how we discover what is true in the world. That's it. And Absolutely. That path has led me to atheism. I don't know. I don't have the answers. And I think you get that a lot too with like, oh, you're an atheist. Well, then, what about the Big Bang and this? And it's like, I don't know. I don't make a truth claim or a belief claim or a claim of any sort when it comes to how the universe was created. That's not necessary for me to be an atheist. I have no freaking clue how the universe came to be. If there was a cause to start the universe, if there was, anything before the Big Bang. These are not problems that I need to address in order to be an atheist. So finding that truth, though, why people would say they don't believe in the Big Bang yet believe in something else. Like, let's examine that. Let's examine why you think that's true. And maybe there's a flaw in your logic, Yeah.
Well, before I this damn lamp keeps messing my hat up. But before I say anything to that point, Ben, now I'm gonna ask you, and I know you are a former believer theist, like Jeff and I.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the same scenario. Ben, there's somebody that approaches you, and they Ben, I'm on the fence, and I'm really becoming skeptical, and I'm really questioning why I'm believing what I'm believing. What am I believing in? How would you guide them? Where would you direct them to? What advice would you give them?
For me, when I started dropping like the God belief itself, I think it was really important for me to recognize that I was still the same person. So all of the values that I had, whether it was like through mission trips with the church or mission work or some other kinds of community service, those were the things that I kept with me. Those were the experiences and values that I wanted to take with me from church. So for me, yes, I grew up in like a United Methodist. There's a very liberal Christian church. I didn't use the Bible so much for the foundation of my good works other than just trying to be like Jesus. For me, it's just all about remembering that you can still be a good person without God. So if you're on the fence, just like try to lift that burden off your shoulders and allow yourself to look at it from both sides. And in the end, it's not the end of the world. You've got your whole life to examine these questions. So at a certain point, I just realized the world was the same with and without God. And I decided that. And then I was exposed to like Occam's razor, and it was just like, well, no reason for me to hold on to that extra bit. So here I am.
Yeah, no, that was great. And for me, and if you guys were to ask me that same question, Oz, what advice would you give to somebody that is, on the fence and trying to figure out, again, dabbled in or started to move into skepticism and is questioning things? I would tell you to remove yourself from what you've been taught, because things are learned. So start to remove yourself from what you've been taught. And what do I mean by that is, even if you need to go to a library and sit in a library and grab a Bible in the library, and start to read that like you would any other book that comes from that library, do that. If that's what helps you, whatever setting helps you to do that. And suddenly reading that Bible will start to eliminate the mysticism and the supernatural qualities from this Bible God as you go through it. And that's just my very simplistic answer to that. And I think if you do that, you'll start to find that logically, applying reason and taking yourself through an epistemic process, that all of a sudden it's like, okay, I really don't have a good reason to believe that a God exists. And that would be my advice on that. But what I want to do now is start to transition to now part of the main part of TART, the Atheist Roundtable, and getting into the epistemic questions. And Pasta, I think I saw Pasta pop up.
But how do you know you saw it?
I don't. I need to hear him.
I just like how.
Like what?
I just like how Chase said, "Uh-oh, mistakes were made."
In the comments.
Oh,
Chase knows nothing.
Chase needs to still come on the show. I'm going to mail him a care package.
Oh.
Chase, just go ahead and put your address in the comments, and we'll post it up so I can get it, and I'll send you a care package.
But no, Pasta.
Hey, Oz, let's get a couple of shout outs to the.
I think there's a couple of delays there.
Is he having a stroke? Oh, God. Oh, my God.
I don't know what I expected under there. Have I seen you with it?
It's not long hair, I'll tell you that.
Okay, well, Pasta's having some technical issues.
I was going to say, let's get a couple. Well, I was going to say, let's get a couple of shout outs to the folks in the chat.
Okay. A couple of shout outs to the folks in the chat.
All right. So I can't start all the way at the top. So I'll start at the bottom here where I can see. So, there's a Velociraptor again. So big shout out to Veloci. And then we have Prime. We all know who Prime is. And he's not going to send his address. He's not going to come on the show. So we'll keep going.
He's not going to care package.
Darth Dawkins Vault. He shows up every once in a while. And he loves Darth Dawkins. That's what I know. I'm just kidding. Then we have Cat Humanist, and is becoming a regular on our show. And she's been talking to Mrs. Oz, which is my my fiance. And then all of a sudden, Conehead, look at Geo. We were boys. We were boys until tonight. And then even my own fiance said something about he's got a big noggin. I don't want to say anything. And then no hair, Mama Bear. Hey, Oz is a no hair like me. Yes, absolutely. And if we keep going up, Lee. There's Pavel D. Always appreciate you hanging out. Gavin shows up all the time. Even though Jeff deleted his shit one night, he keeps coming back and showing up and talking to us and and hanging. We got Lee.
Gavin's in New Zealand too.
Yeah. We got Lee. We got the Blazing Wizard Pope that's always here. Appreciate it. Mediocre Theology. Geo Sam again. You're muted too. Mrs. Oz, she's hot. I'm trying to see anything. The rest of them have called out. There it is. Grumpy Old Cuss. There he is. That's what I was looking for. Grumpy Old Cuss, and then Grumpy Old Cuss again. Yep. Thank you guys. No Hair, Mama Bear. You guys are awesome. Those are the folks that show up, and there's some more in there, but I can't scroll all the way back up there. But we appreciate all your guys' support. And being here and talking, having the conversations. And did I just see that Coffee showed up? If Coffee there he is. Yep. What's up, Coffee? Yeah. Thank you guys for showing. And November just showed up. Appreciate it. Where'd Pasta go? Okay. So what we'll do is we'll now transition into the conversation and getting into the epistemic questions and why do we believe what we believe. And what I want to do is, Ben and Ethan, I want to 100% start out with you two gentlemen, and you guys get it kickstarted, and whether it's the epistemic process, the Socratic process, asking those questions and getting down to the what, why, when, how, why, all that. Let's do it. So, Ben.
Hello.
The floor is yours, brother.
All right. Well, first of all, Ethan, have you heard of like the whole like street epistemology stuff before? Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went down the whole rabbit hole watching like hours and hours of Anthony Magnabosco. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar.
There's a lot of things that I'm going to do that are very similar, and then there's going to be some parts where I break away from it. So anybody who's watching will kind of recognize some things that I may ask. I may try to debate a couple of things. I may try to insert my own experiences or whatever. So it should feel more like a conversation than what Magnabosco does. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just for like me, so we'll start out with the typical SE thing. How confident are you that God exists? If that's what you're comfortable talking about, I'm comfortable just talking about just straight about God's existence right now.
Yeah, for sure. I hate to put a number on it. Like, I know I definitely thought about this. I mean, I'm very confident for sure, but a number just seems weird. But I mean, I could just go with like 95% or 90%, maybe 90% sounds pretty good. How about that?
No, that's fine. And I mean, totally feel free to like adjust that, or if 90 to 95 isn't such a huge difference to me that like,
it just seems weird. Yeah, just like a number seems weird because it's like, I don't know. It's like, how hungry are you? You know what I mean? Like, you're either very hungry, sort of hungry, or not hungry. So I'm like very confident, not sure, but very confident.
Okay.
I feel like that makes more sense than a number.
Yeah, very confident. Got it. So you're very confident, and then what are the primary like reasons that kind of like built you up to 95% confidence or to a very confident level? What are some of those reasons?
Yeah, so I think I'm sure I always believed in God. Like, I grew up sort of like Catholic, but never took it very seriously. Wouldn't even, like, now looking back, probably wouldn't even call myself a Christian, but like in the back of my head, I always believed in God. So, and that's not, so like that definitely led me to like being very open to any sort of reason, I would say. And then when I became a Christian, which was about 3 years ago, it was just like, I would say personal experience. We could definitely get into that. And personal experience led me to like really being like curious. And then just all kinds of different stuff just kind of hit me all at once. So like some philosophical arguments and like just scripture, just reading the Bible, and I would say like an internal, like the experience too was like an internal conviction. And now like looking back, I would call it like the Holy Spirit like convicting me. So just like this conviction, and it just seemed to point me towards Christianity, and I just had no desire to hear about anything else. So it's like a personal experience. Like I said, we can get more into like what that personal experience is, but I would say mainly what led me to my belief was definitely a personal experience.
Okay, it's like so if you had like a bit of percentage on that personal experience, like if you didn't have that personal experience, how far would that knock you down on your confidence that God exists?
Yeah, that's tough because it's like I don't know. That's a tough question because it's almost like saying like, yeah, like how'd you get somewhere? You know what I mean? You go on a trip, like how'd you get there? Like I got in the car, and you're like, well, if you didn't get in the car, like how confident are you that you'd be there? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like really hard to even consider that because like if I didn't have that personal experience, I probably wouldn't have went down the rabbit hole. Like my faith is not based on that now. I feel like the Holy Spirit like convicted me and led me towards this thing, and now I'd say my faith is built on more things than just this personal experience, but the personal experience is like the what led me there.
So I mean, I guess I can follow you there because I understand that personal experience is like what led you to believing that God exists. But as it currently stands, you're saying that you're very confident that God exists. You said that personal experience is part of that, but if without the personal experience, it sounds like you'd still be very confident.
Yeah. I mean, if say for example, like something,
a hypothetical situation where let's say in an alternate universe, Ethan hadn't had those personal experiences, everything else is the same. Or
but like like instead of the personal experience, someone like bet me $10,000, I wouldn't like do the exact same research and like try and learn the same things that I learned because of the personal experience. And I think I think that would be the same. Like I said, my belief now is based off of just it just seems to me like illogical at this point to think that God doesn't exist. So like I wouldn't like the reason I'm not 100% is because like I could be shown that my my logic is flawed somewhere or something like that, but it's not like I don't look back and think like, does God exist? And then I'm like, oh well, I had that personal experience, so I know he does. And no, that doesn't really like play into it.
That would have been what I would think. So based on like how you answered that question, you kind of went down some reasons. You said that like number one, you were always a Christian. Like I guess I could ask that too. If you had been born into a different household that maybe wasn't Christian, do you think you still would have gotten there? Or was that, I mean, yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, like, I think I always believed in God just because it's like the default position for a lot of people in America. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't definitely say I was always a Christian. Like, there was a lot of time where I, like, wasn't a Christian at all. I just always, like, it just always made sense to think there was a God. So... can you repeat your question?
I guess like I'm really questioning whether or not that's a reason that gets you to the 95% or to the 90%. So like if you hadn't been born a Christian, would you still be very confident that God exists at this point?
Yeah, I mean, geez, I thought I was better at hypotheticals. This is really hard.
It's not a hypothetical. That's the nice thing is that it's not really a hypothetical because I'm asking like where you are now. I'm asking for reasons that God exists, and I'm leaving SC, right? So we're having a conversation. I'm saying that like this is kind of a meta conversation, right? So you listed some reasons, and I'm just kind of trying to go down. You said you're confident that God exists. You know, so is having always been a Christian a boost to that percentage? Like if somebody didn't have that, would that still be a reason? Like, could somebody be just as confident that God exists without having been raised a Christian? That might be a better phrasing.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, not. I guess for me, I guess I'm saying like it definitely led me because like like the conviction I felt like it. I know like hearing all these things like one of like the Jesus and Christianity like is in the back of my head, so that's like where I turn to. You know, like if I was born in Saudi Arabia, I'm sure I wouldn't have turned to Christianity, or if I had been born in a completely secular household, maybe I would have turned to like some sort of secular Buddhism or something like that. So. Like I definitely could see like the growing up in that culture like playing a big part of it for sure.
So let's say like if somebody hadn't been born a Christian but they converted to Christianity, would they have just as good a reason to accept that God exists? Or would they have just as much justification to be at 95% confidence that God exists?
I think so. Yeah. Based on like the philosophical arguments and different things for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So then that's not, would you say then that that's not part of the 90% or the very confident reasons that you gave? And I'm not trying to trap you.
Yeah. No, you're not. No. And I don't think you are. I'm just like really trying to think it through for sure. So maybe sure. I'll say it plays somewhat a part of it for sure. Because like I could think like, it's like some arguments that I've thought worked out or whatever, like I like the fine tuning or whatever, like that's one that I struggle with, and I could see like it not knocking the percentage down once I realized like, oh, this argument doesn't work as much because of the personal experience and like growing up. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm trying to like think it through, and yeah, so I'll say it plays somewhat of a part.
And part of my goal is like, if this helps you better list your reasons that God is real, then I'm happy with that. So so for me, if I'm you at this point and I'm talking about why I believe in God exists or that God exists, I might not go to number one, I was always a Christian, because that, whether or not God is actually real, does that have anything to do with my personal experience or how I grew up?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and I guess it's just more of less like I'm less trying to like convince somebody and more just giving what happened in my life. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess I'm trying to figure out. So that is a reason that you personally believe then. Okay. All right.
I wouldn't tell somebody like to be a Christian you have to like just wait for this personal experience, and then like if it doesn't show up, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think there are other ways to go about it.
Okay. And so so let's take those away then. Are you comfortable taking those away as reasons that you got some very comfortable? Sweet. The next one that I had for you, that you said all kinds of stuff. You want to kind of break into that a little bit or talk about those things?
Yeah, for sure. So it was like a lot of YouTube for sure. So finding both Christian channels and atheist channels and watching debates and hearing, learning more about scripture and stuff, learning about the Old Testament and how it relates to the New Testament. It just like blew me away. And I see how other people come to different conclusions for sure. I don't think you can just like read Genesis and all of a sudden become a Christian. I mean, plenty of Jews and Muslims hold to the Old Testament.
Well, and Christians just transformed Jews, right? Or, looking through history, that's what Christianity comes out of. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would kind of say like the Jews like kind of stayed put and the Christians like understood what was going on. But yeah, I understand what you mean.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So YouTube, and so you're saying already, I feel you thinking ahead a little bit, because like if I get on YouTube and I learn about like Muslim apologetics, we have like an accurate copy of the Quran, right? 400 years after Jesus's life. And in fact, this book, we have Muhammad who finds, let's say that I go down that rabbit hole of Muslim apologetics and I come out the other side. Like, is it possible for me to be justified, like just as justified in the belief that, and this may be an unfair question, like, let me know how you would rephrase it to be more accurate. But like, I mean, would I be just as justified in the YouTube route as a Christian would be if I was to end up a Muslim instead? Like, what's the difference there? So like, help me parse out what was it in YouTube.
Yeah, and it's not like necessarily. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I think you can. Yeah, I don't know. Like, whole epistemology is something I'm really learning about, because I don't know. Like, can you really be justified?
I'm no expert.
Yeah, can you really be justified in believing something that's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can, yeah, but it's just weird. So could someone be justified like doing the same thing but coming to a different conclusion? Sure, yeah, sure. They could. I mean, I think it's weird. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I wonder how much. Like I know we don't control our beliefs. Like I can't just make a choice and say I'm an atheist, and I can't just choose that. But I do think I can like do things. I could stop, like unsubscribe to every Christian channel I ever watch and only watch atheists. And I think I could eventually I'm sure I would become an atheist, if I tried hard enough, only read defeating the Bible articles and only people that did that. So, and I'm sure I'd be justified, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough thing.
Yeah. Well, so so we can leave like the YouTube idea out. What were some of like, so, I mean, I wrote down all kinds of stuff because I think you list about 5 reasons, and I'm basically just going off the intro thing. So you feel free to add or take away or whatever as we go, because this just helps me organize my thoughts when I write them down.
And just a little bit, like before this too, I didn't want to like think it through too much. So like I wanted to have a real conversation. I think that's what we're trying to do, but like if I may, whatever, thinking this through, maybe something I wasn't exactly what I wanted to say or whatever, but so far we're good, but you know what I mean? That's all.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else within that all kinds of stuff besides the YouTube? YouTube.
And just
I'm getting old. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, the YouTube. Yeah, that's fine. No, and it was just, I mean, Bible studies had a lot to do with it. Community, like my church community. I don't want to leave that out either. Like, just building this community of other Christians and seeing just it's just a different community that I ever was a part of. And I wanted to, like, I started to feel convicted. I started to feel like it all made sense. And I mean, I definitely wanted to be a Christian. That's definitely. I think a lot of people are like afraid to say that, and I don't know why. Like, I think it's perfectly fine to say I want to be a Christian.
That's when that's one of the things that I continually get is like, well, you have to want to be a Christian in order to be a Christian. And I was just like, to me, it never made sense to just like, well, I want to believe something, and that's what makes it true. You know what I mean? So I understand that. Like, it's interesting to hear from a believer that like that was at one of the actual routes that you took.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like necessarily like I decide like, oh, I want to believe this, so it's true. But like, I definitely like wanted to believe it, so it led me to researching more and being more open to the arguments.
Okay,
because I think you can close yourself off or be open. I mean, I think that's pretty. I would think we would agree on that. You can even anybody can be biased. Everybody is biased.
So then, what did you find then that convinced you that God exists through all that research, all kinds of stuff? What did you find that led you to accept that God actually exists?
Yeah, I would say just overall it was like a conviction, and then turning and learning what the Old Testament said and how that just was like just this theology all the way through from just so like thousands of years ago. These people believe this. So many people throughout history believe this. Like the Christian church is the biggest church in the world, like for sure that's part of the reason. It's just like I feel like, as far as I guess we're touching on God exists, and God exists was more like just the idea hearing. I would say God exists more is that there needs to be a foundation for reality. That just seems to me like something. It just seemed like I just knew for some reason that there's just some foundation, and then I think like the foundation of reality, that's where I'd say what led me to know that God exists. It seems crazy to me to think that it's just like just there or whatever. There's nothing behind it all. And then like thinking about that, like I could have thought that and realized, oh, I'm wrong. But like thinking that and then seeing like Christians like saying that's a reason why like Christianity is true. And then like seeing that Christianity, like what Christianity is, it all kind of just started piecing together.
Yeah. Well, so what led you to think that there has to be like a foundation for reality then? So if we're getting into God has to exist because there has to be a foundation for reality, how did you get to that belief?
Repeat your question. Yeah. Like, how did I get to the belief that there is a foundation for reality? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess it just like I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't really know exactly like how I came to that belief. I think that's like part of the thing. Like, I always just believed, like I always believed there was a God, and then like really thinking more through, like, what would a God, like, what does it mean that there's a God? And to me, it just meant that there like is something behind and responsible for everything here. And then hearing Christians say like, yeah, like that's called basically like the contingency argument or something, like, and hearing like, wow, that's really weird that like this contingency argument like seems to prove or whatever, like attempt to prove in the same thing that I like randomly felt like was like just almost put into my brain, or like I just like, I don't know, it seemed like it came from someone else or another thing, like told like couldn't let me let go of this belief like other beliefs. It seemed like this certain belief was different, or still is different in my head. Like I feel like there's plenty of things I could think that like I came up with, like the fact that I think I'm good at something or whatever, like that seems like my belief. But then this belief that like there's a foundation seems like one that's just different in my brain.
So I was listening, and I was kind of trying to parse out reasons. So I guess like the original question, I appreciate you explaining it, like how you got to that point. But I'm if you could for me, I mean, like maybe I just missed it, but like
no, be sure to definitely like I may not answer the question right. I don't
There's no right answers. Well, maybe there is. I don't know. The question, I guess, originally was, how do you know that there's a foundation for reality?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would say like now, I think the contingency argument like is a very good argument. But as far as before, it was just something like I felt like was true or whatever. So I don't think I was really. There was a point where I probably wasn't so much justified, but like I'm comfortable saying that because like if God does exist, it seems like if Christianity is true, it makes perfect sense that he like can give you beliefs that you might not be like fully worked out yet or whatever. Like you can believe something before you've worked it out.
Okay. Well, I mean, man, I really appreciate it because we were able to go through, I think I listed out 8 reasons that you had. The ones that we haven't gotten to get to yet would just be like, faith is like a big one that we haven't had gotten to talk about. And we just talked about, I think you mentioned like conviction and theology as reasons that God exists. So maybe at a later time we can pick that up.
Yeah, for sure. I would say like faith, I think would be a good one to talk about because I think it's like very misunderstood. I don't think faith is like how you come to truth. I think faith is how you like just don't like just fall off the wagon or whatever. But
right on, man. Hey, thank you so much for practicing with me. I think we're about to add the other hosts on the screen if they want to start popping in. And very good discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jeff.
That's actually pretty good.
I'll save the notes for you. I'll send you a picture.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Ben, great job. So quickly, I'll segue to Jeff and Ethan here. Spartan Theology and Jeff. No, but serious. So this is going to be the battle of the Discord. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I want these gentlemen to talk, and I think this would be great because they there's a lot of things that happen on Discord, whether it's text or just voice. But now we have 2 prominent figures on the Let's Talk Religion Discord where they can go live and in color and talk. And Ethan, just Jeff, take it away.
Oh, thanks. What a great segue.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I mean, I like what he does. I really like the epistemological approach that they have. And it really gets down to some key things real quick, but it doesn't. One of the things I want to talk about in the Discord later too, but also like how do you know, like when of course you can use the how do you know, but like what methods at which should I use or should we use as a species to determine truth? Like what are the most reliable methods that we have at hand for the world around us to know what's true? And when I think about that, there have been, for me, I can't say I can't say that personal experience because we know that's flawed. I can't say that personal observations can be true. So I can't take Darwin's theory just based off of Darwin. But I can look at the world and see how things work from a big picture. And it seems to me that we have found a solution. The best minds in the world have figured out right now the best way to treat cancer or the best way to treat diseases. We know the best ways to build an airplane. We know the best ways to get to the moon and back and bring people down on the surface and bring them back. We know how a hot air balloon works. We know if we mix chemical A with chemical B, we will get this reaction every single time. So we can look at that and say that's how we can build knowledge in one way, because that process has shown to be working. But yet the best minds that ever existed on this planet have argued theology for millennia, and we are no step closer to knowing which God is true and which God is false, because those same processes that give us a cure or treatment for cancer don't work with religion. So why is that? Like, how can we find truth as a species if we can't apply those same standards to religion? Like, how can we get there with religion?
Yeah, I feel like to me it's almost like it's just like a category or to say that basically. Like, that seems to me like, yeah, like science can point us to, and I guess you didn't necessarily say science, but I mean that's basically what you're getting at or whatever. But I don't think science can tell me like what is my favorite song. You know what I mean? Like, and that, I mean, that's subjective, but yeah. So I think that's tough. Yeah. What could get there? Yeah. Just to me, that's what I'm trying to figure out too. Shoot. Yeah. I wish I knew. Yeah.
Because if I search for truth and I want to get down to it, it comes down to a couple things with like what he was saying. And when it comes to religion, what I always find is it's always some exterior influence from another person, singular, or breeding, just the way you're bred, by your parents to believe in certain religious aspects. And that's why the geography of religion is very clear. If you're born in a certain area, you believe that. So like, I truly think that if you were born in the Middle East right now, you'd be Muslim. And for me, I find it really hard to think that you would go to hell because you didn't believe in Jesus, even if you knew that message, just because you were born in the Middle East. So there has to be a way that we can find truth between X religion and X religion to know which one's true. And it's just astounding to me that the best minds have gone after that and not gotten to an answer, which is why I'm atheist. It's not that I believe that there is no God. I can't see how one is better than another. So if I look at two, how can I take two in front of me and figure out which one's real and which one's false?
Well, I mean, I say you can just definitely like, couple of things here I want to touch on. Like, I think I would probably disagree with some Christians, and I don't think I would disagree with as many as like most people think or some that are online, but I don't think that like everyone who's born in the Middle East and becomes a Muslim just goes to hell, if that makes, like, I think God looks in your heart, judges you based on your heart, not just whether or not you chose to believe, like whether or not chose, but whether or not, like, I think there's plenty of Muslims that like, I think personally, like I don't know how it works, but maybe you die and you see Jesus and you're like, I was wrong, and then like you become a Christian right there or whatever. So I think like you're only saved through Jesus, but I don't think like just because you were born in Iraq, like you have no chance, because essentially you don't, it doesn't make any sense. And if that I would.
So do you believe it just because it doesn't make sense?
Well, I think that's what I was going to get at. Yeah, I think we have to if there's a contradiction, it's not true. Something that the laws of logic, I think, are crucial. You can't understand truth without the laws of logic. So if you go through and something it contradicts itself, and then we can, there's how. Because
I'm with you, like, on thinking that, the feeling that you have and the universe itself can be a deity in a way. And maybe there is a God that we just don't know about, that hasn't made himself known, but we still know that there might be, or a necessitated creator. But when I look at actual religion, because that studying religion, you can see the very man-made aspects of the religion we have today. So it just leads me to believe that any major religion that I have today is just a bastardized version of anything that we were supposed to get. And either that God is powerless or unwilling to change it. And then you get into personalized religions, the people that, like our friend Mark of Legend, that has a personalized religion. And you can't fault somebody's personal religion because it's so personalized. So it's also not a way that I can get to an individual truth. I can't, because I don't have that same experience like he had. I don't have the same thing, but I have had, being a theist, the same feelings that you speak of, being, on a mountainside and seeing the great, mountain range and feeling God's presence, is that not just a mental, serotonin release that makes us feel good that we're attributing to a deity? It's just very difficult for me to figure out which one of those is correct. And until I can figure it out, I have to remain neutral.
Yeah. So I think without God's intervening work, I think anybody can be perfectly justified in being, I don't know, but I think it's fine. Maybe you don't believe in God, and however that works out, I'm not I don't know how it works for everybody else. I think my thing, and I think a lot of people in apologetics want to convince people, and that seems weird to me. I have no desire to convince someone of Christianity. It's more just have these discussions and see where we're both searching for truth at the same time. And I think what I believe is right, but I just want to help people search for truth. And I don't know how exactly to find truth. I'm definitely not the one that knows the answer to that question.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, when I look at it from a perspective of all these people with different beliefs and different places, and everybody is just as passionate about what they believe. It's just weird to me that, a God would create this system, give us the Bible, but not leave us any of the evidence in the Bible. And what I mean by that is every single time that we discover something as a species, religion has to take a backtrack, reevaluate, and come back. If this, for weather, we discover how weather works, or even easier, lightning rods, Ben Franklin and the lightning rod. And people were upset at the lightning rod invention because lightning was a sign from God, and it told us which churches were evil. And if they had a higher steeple, the lightning would strike the church. And when the lightning rod was invented, there were groups of Christians and other theists that were up in arms over this invention, kind of intervening with God. Why?
Yeah, I don't see it. Not to I don't know. I don't see how that has any
I'm getting there.
relevance.
Yeah.
So we'll go.
So if weather is not controlled by God as it's stated in the Holy Book, and we discover that, it's just that every discovery doesn't lead us back towards that God. It leads us to another question and another dead end. It would make more sense to me that as you and I genuinely seek the truth, we genuinely find the Christian Bible to be the author of truth. But that's not what we find. We find issues that have to be fixed through translation errors or context, or the Bible's been rewritten to make the Trinity work. There's all these different pieces of the puzzle, and the answers that we're getting are not lining up. So that's why, if we were to discover that, how earthquakes, or this works, or lightning works, or weather events, or diseases, all of these things have been claimed to be of God. And that's not what we see in the natural world. So I just wish the natural world lined up with a holy book. It would make it a lot easier. And I don't know why God would make it more difficult, why it wouldn't just work that way.
Yeah, because you're saying we know.
It should be if we get a fair shake, if you and I have a fair shake at this, we should both come to the same conclusion with an open mind. But I shouldn't have to do all this extra work to convince myself or to find the correct answer. It should be evident. It should be.
Yeah, I disagree,
but why? Why make it more difficult then? Why make it less evident?
I don't claim to know God's reasons behind thing or whatever.
But don't you think that's a logical fallacy there to punish people for not accepting the truth and then withholding the ability to find the truth?
Yeah, see, I don't think he punishes people for not I think he punishes people for your intentions more than the answer. That's all. I think the way I understand it is on a math test or whatever. You can I think God gives you full credit for using for your method, essentially, even if you come to the wrong answer. Like on a math test, you can do everything right, and then like accidentally, like in the middle of the problem, you saw a 6 and thought it was a 1 or something, and therefore your answer is completely wrong. But God sees that whole process, so he doesn't it doesn't have any effect. I don't think your answer is what gets you into heaven. I think it's your heart.
Sure. So if that's the case, how can we test? How do we know that's true other than just being your opinion? How can I know that I'm safe?
Well, yeah, know that you're safe. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think we should all just search for the truth, and we'll know what happens at the end. That's why I don't think just become a Christian and you'll be fine.
Well, people tell me that all the time. They'll give me Pascal's wager. I probably hear that at least 8 times a day. So it's either Pascal's wager, the Big Bang Theory, or evolution somehow comes up without me ever bringing those things up. But I mean, I'm genuinely, the reason I became an atheist was genuinely seeking truth and things just not lining up to me. So I don't know. I have a hard time understanding why this God that I'm genuinely seeking would lead me to the wrong answers that led me to where I'm at today. Because I can't, like you said, I can't choose my beliefs. And the more that I read to try and get that belief back, it's made it more difficult, and now trying to be as objective as possible when doing research, I've got to find a truth process that works and that the individual person can be removed from and it still be able to find truth. And unfortunately, up until this point, it seems that religion as a whole comes down to, at its very base, personal experience and personal opinion, which, as we both know, is just not good enough for building knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like I said, I'm trying to figure this out too. I'm in the same boat as you. I'd love to know what is the objectively best way to find truth. And I think, like I said, people have been arguing about this since the beginning of time. And I think it's part of the. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's a question that we're trying to answer. And I think as long as you're open-minded and you're honest and you do what you think is right, I mean, I think that has a lot to that's how you can live your life. I don't think, if you don't believe in God, I don't think you should just change your mind, just force yourself to change your mind or something. And I don't think you're going to go to hell because you didn't, that's just not the way I see it at all. So, and I think that changes a lot of things. I think you're right. I think if the idea that if you don't say, confess Jesus with your mouth, you go to hell. If that's the truth, that doesn't seem to make any sense. And Christianity must not be true, because that's just or maybe it's not, maybe it's true and God is but that seems to make God bad or evil.
Well, maybe he's just screwing with us.
Yeah, and and then when you understand what the meaning of the word God, as Christians believe as this fundamental, maximally great being, it doesn't seem like it would even be possible for him to be that way. So he either doesn't exist or he is perfectly good. And then I think we're trying to rationalize out what it means for a being to be perfectly good. So, yeah, I don't think you could get punished just for using your brain. I've heard atheists say that a lot. I used my brain and I became an atheist. I would have been better off not trying to learn anything. And it's, under some views of Christianity, it honestly seems like you're just better off just being extremely ignorant and never searching for anything that goes against your opinion. Because you could believe, if you're a kid and you grew up in a Christian house and you never read a book on the other side, I'm sure you just always would be a Christian. Yeah. But that's obviously not the way to search for truth. So I don't think, like I said, I don't think you should be afraid of the truth. And I think just one thing I want to say too is I just don't think we have to just say jump to conclusions. I think a lot of people are afraid of that middle ground where they're not sure either way. And I think that's where the beauty of life is. I love, that's the point, is to be in that middle ground and
I stay in the middle ground.
Try and learn.
I don't know anything.
For sure. Yeah, I see Pasta Mike jumped in here, so I was trying to
I know, he's probably
chill for a second, let him talk, but he didn't say anything. So
everyone thinks they do something wrong when I pop in, but no. I just wanted to say great conversation. Hi to Super Chris in the chat. That's the Daily Atheist from the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Anyway, what's going on, guys? We got is Oz still out here? Where's Oz at?
I hope not. Oh yeah, he's here.
And he's pre-muted. Look at that.
Nice.
The pre-mute. I didn't even have to mute the guy.
I come muted. No, Jeff, not like that.
Oh, okay.
No, appreciate it, Jeff. Hey, look, visit Jeff's Discord and let's talk about religion. Jeff, send everybody the link in the
It's right
chat.
here. It's
Awesome
now
link
short.
tree.
Oh, well, you can't see it because you cut me off, but it's now a link tree, atheist.troll. Just link tree, atheist.troll. You can visit a couple different Easter egg sites there that are there in link, and you can get the Discord and my new Instagram because I was told I need an Instagram in case TikTok goes down. So I got one of those now.
Hey, debate Jeff on his Discord, apparently. He's got a fan
That's true.
club.
You can troll me. Fantastic.
Appreciate it, Jeff, man. So, Ethan, are you ready for some really tough, like almost like you just got arrested? You're going to get put in the interrogation room, and we're going to go hammering at you with this with these types of no. Okay, that's not us anyway.
Nope.
So, yeah, none of that stuff.
Blacka.
Hey, I was going to ask.
No.
Hey, Ethan, was it didn't we have a conversation once about agnostic theism?
Yeah, I feel like you always like. I feel like I'm the only person you've ever seen that's like not sure of their Christianity or something, but I don't know. But yeah, I guess I would consider myself. I don't because I don't agree with those terms or the way you use those terms. But sure, like under your definition, sure, I would consider myself an atheist or an agnostic Christian.
Well, it's ironic that you say that because in theory, I don't really need the terms. I feel like I have to have the terms because there are theists in the world. So, I don't walk around saying, hey, I want to be an atheist. It's like there are theists. So therefore, I guess I must be an atheist or, the whole agnostic, Gnostic, malarkey. But
Yeah, I don't feel like getting into that. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, it's a whole thingamajig. However, I think you did tell me that if you were to kind of cross into that realm of linguistics or semantics that you said, yeah, I guess I'd be agnostic, right? And that's what you were touching on with Ben. You said you're like 95%.
Yeah, 90, 95%.
Yeah. Now, what would push you to 100?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can really be 100. I don't think I'm really 100% about much other than like that I exist and maybe the external world exists, but maybe not. I don't know. Like I don't think I'm really 100% on much. So I don't know what could push me there.
Okay. So with the same type of logic that you use where you've kind of, hey, I'm going to just go all in with this faith on a 95. What other things in your life do you use that same logic with where you've predetermined that you believe it already prior to actually having the full knowledge?
You think you have to be 100% to like believe anything?
Do you believe your dad is your father?
Yeah, but I'm definitely not 100%, I guess.
You're not 100% sure your parents are your parents?
I guess I could have been mixed up at the hospital or something, right?
Is there a way to find out though?
Probably not.
You don't think you could get like DNA tested or?
They're not 100% accurate. I mean, there's probably 0.001% or whatever that. Like I randomly like match up really close to my dad with DNA, and I was mixed up at the hospital. I'm sure that's happened before or something ridiculous like that.
What is it, 95% or?
I mean, it's probably like 99.99999, but I wouldn't call it 100.
So would you say that that's pretty much like as close as it's going to get to where somebody could say that's as good as it gets? That's not, there's a significant difference between faith and then that being, that guy's your dad. It's like 1 in quadrillion chance that guy is your dad. Or, hey, I'm not an expert in forensic science, by the way. It's just that I know that they come up with strange numbers like that. They say that guy's probably.
Me either. I have no idea.
Yeah, but I know that the chances of that person being the contributor to that mitochondrial, whatever the heck they call it, is pretty. They put them in jail. They'll throw the book at them for it. Whereas
I just watched the Joe Rogan podcast, and they like basically showed that every all this crap that we use to put people in jail is like so jacked up. It's not even funny. So just saying that something's like used to put people in jail. I mean, they use bite mark evidence, and that doesn't prove anything at all. And they use that to put people in jail. So
or like eyewitness testimony and stuff.
Yeah.
But Austin is in this position now where he's saying to me, "Hey, Pastor Mike, I want to get into questions when theists come on the show, and I'm fed up of arguing with folks." And I said, "Well, Spartan is your guy. What do you think, Spartan? Do you think that you get a hold of him in the Discord from time to time?"
Yeah, and for sure, I've been watching the shows a lot too, and I know there's like a lot of things like I've like watched something like, dang, I wish I could respond. So yeah.
So I'm going to do Austin a favor. I'm going to take it to I'm going to go over to Austin's side of the fence. I want to start off a couple of questions, and I'm going to get the hell out of here. I got some atheist pizza cooking. So when were your first moments where you said to yourself, "Hey, I think Christianity is my worldview"? Like, how old were you? Where were you at? And what led you to believe that faith to be true?
Yeah, so it's like 3 years ago. About to turn, I'm like 29 now, or 28. I don't know how old I am. But so yeah, it was about 3 years ago. And it was like after a Bible study where I just like felt the conviction of the Holy Spirit like way stronger than I'd ever felt. Like it seemed like at that point, it seemed to me ridiculous to say that God doesn't exist. It was this just change in my mind. I felt that where if I like, it was just almost no doubt. I mean, I could have been like no doubt in that experience, just like there's no doubt right now that I'm like talking to you, I could be convinced I'm wrong, but like in that experience, it seemed perfectly real. And then that led me down this whole rabbit hole to where I am now.
So how did Christianity come into it though?
I mean, it was during a Bible study. So we were like learning about Jesus, and I just like, I don't know. It just made sense.
Okay. Would you say that it was maybe geography that played a role, or this is tough because I don't want to.
No, I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Like, yeah.
All right. Then Bible study happened. You said, okay, how did you make your next move? Did you even pursue knowledge? Did you just say, I'm just going to accept this? What happened?
No. I just started learning and learning. Like, that's what I was talking about with Ben. I started watching a lot of YouTube because that's like, I have a job where I'm like on the computer all day. So I have plenty of time to listen to like podcasts and YouTube and stuff. So I just started learning like what Christianity really, really was. And now I'm where I am now.
Okay. Well, I guess that's fair to say, because I literally hear atheists say they watch YouTube videos and they watch like a Christopher Hitchens video and they become atheists. So I guess it's fair to say that you watched YouTube videos and became Christian, and that's what made you believe God to be true.
Well, I mean, I would say, like, looking back, like, if Christianity is true, there's, like, a way of talking about this in a way that, like, you'll agree with. And then there's a way to say, like, well, if it is true, then it's perfectly reasonable, right, to say that, like, the Holy Spirit convicted me and, like, I just knew it right then, and then it just built on all this knowledge, right? Like, if Christianity is true, it's perfectly reasonable that, like, I could know God exists based on no other, not understanding any arguments or anything like that, right?
Okay.
You think God could like tell me this essentially in my brain?
And he could tell you that.
Yeah, right. Like it's perfectly reasonable to think that, right? If he does exist. I'm not like arguing that he exists, but like just for sake of argument, Christianity is true. Okay. It's perfectly reasonable that someone could just like God could just basically tell them.
Okay, so if Christianity is true, and in that position, then no other religions exist. Is that correct?
I don't know what you mean exist.
No, if I'm playing along, so if I'm entering into this world and the Christianity worldview is correct, are there any other deities or any other religions?
Deities? Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean by deities?
So can Hinduism coexist with Christianity?
I mean, in exactly the way. I don't know. I don't know enough about Hinduism to necessarily say. I don't, because I think they believe in like polytheism, and I would say polytheism is like it seems reasonable that they could be like some lesser. I think lesser gods. I think there's spiritual beings exist and stuff like. So yeah, like the Old Testament most definitely speaks of gods, little g gods, as being real entities.
Sure. Well, I say sure. I have no idea what it says in there about that. But the reason why, because if that's true, then if Christianity is true and there are no other gods, then I would be more likely to assume that if some thing was talking to me, then I'd be more likely to believe it. But if there are many other gods could exist, I wouldn't know how to differentiate. There'd be a lot more investigation involved. Because how do you know that?
Yeah, but I'm like struggling. Like you're like, to me, what I'm hearing from you is like, say God told me 2 + 2 is 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would know that, even though I don't know any other math. I'm like never heard of math for whatever. I could just know this. But like then you're saying, well, then how do I know that 6 × 9 is 54 or whatever? Like I don't know. That's just like a separate question or whatever. I'm not following what you're getting at exactly.
Okay. So, well, that's fair because you've gotten an atheist into the realm of thinking that he's a Christian for a moment. So, kudos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to like. It's just like a thought experiment. Like, if God does exist,
I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm trying to think like honestly, like if a God, or if the big G God was talking to me, how would I know that if it's not Satan playing a trick on me? How would I not know it's not another God disguising himself, being deceitful? How do I know these things? It's like there's an investigative process. I just don't know.
I mean, that's why. Yeah, that's what led me down to like trying to figure it out. And like, does Christianity make sense? Like, is this something I even want? Like, does it make sense? Is it true? And then that led me down that whole rabbit hole of pursuing that. But in that moment, like, I think I just like it was like telling me something. And I think, like, I don't know, you can believe something based solely off testimony, right?
If you want to, because you've mentioned,
I think you could be justified, right?
Off of somebody's testimony. If it's something that's repeatable or something that's logical, that's occurred maybe in your life, if somebody's talking about something that you've experienced maybe before that's demonstrable, yes, you can base testimony as factual.
Yeah, I don't think it has. It seems weird that it would have to be demonstrable. Like, it seems like someone that like grew up on an island or whatever could be like, somebody could tell them like, people in America have iPhones and they've never seen a phone, and that person could describe what an iPhone is, and that person could be perfectly justified in believing that people in America have iPhones. You
just described what I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just don't think it has to just like, but that person on the island would have no way to demonstrate what an iPhone is or anything like that.
No, the person on the island might not, but you could, if you're telling them about it, you could. They might be baffled.
Yeah, you could tell them about it. You could use your testimony, but say you don't have one with you or whatever.
Well, then they just that's fair, but they're going to have to understand that as soon as they get off that island, you can demonstrate it to them in some way. But
I just think we can be justified in believing things based only on testimony. I think that's fine.
Well, fair. That's fair if you think it's fine, but you're choosing that belief at that point.
Well, I mean, at some point we all have to make a choice.
What makes you think that?
Or, I mean, I guess you could just sit there and like die, not choose to believe anything. I mean, you could believe that like you don't exist, so you could just lay in your bed and never get up.
You could. But what makes you think that you have to choose a belief?
I don't necessarily, maybe I shouldn't have said choose a belief, but I think you have to like choose to act on something or like to, I just think like, I don't know. It seems to be the way I function. I don't know. Is that not that maybe I'm crazy or something? I don't know, but it seems like everybody in the world kind of just like hears something. I mean, most of the things you would say like, I think you believe a ton of things based solely off testimony. I think everybody does.
Okay. Well,
you would disagree with that?
Well, I go back to what I was stating. It depends on what they're testifying. If they're saying, if I'm telling, I'll give you a quick example. If I'm telling you that, and you've already made one, which is fine. But if I'm telling you that I'm going to go to a coffee shop that you've never been to, and they make a particular type of coffee, and it's really good, and I'm a coffee guy, and I describe this type of coffee to you, never had it, you could take my testimony and say, okay, I take your word and I'll have that coffee. But if I tell you that, there's some kind of parrot that flies from Costa Rica and shits out the coffee into a cup, and then it goes around, circles around the moon. Think of, some more crazy, ludicrous things. And it does it at the speed of light and comes back as a actual elf, and then serves you the coffee. If you want to believe that on testimony, then that's up to you, my friend. That's your call.
Yeah, but I would say we have reasons to believe like that's a ridiculous claim. Like reasons to believe like you just made that up, so why would I want to believe that?
Well, why would I want to believe that the ocean parted?
I mean, I see, like, so first off, you're saying, like, well, it depends on, like, what the claim is. But do you think it also depends on, like, who's telling you the claim, right?
Yeah, if it's a human being.
Well, I mean, like, human person, you know what I mean? Like, if some random guy on TikTok tells you that, like, the whole government is, a whole conspiracy theory, right? Like, you're probably not really justified in believing that guy's testimony.
Sure.
But if the president of the United States tells you this, like, and maybe we shouldn't use that because I don't know, I definitely still wouldn't trust Trump. But if the president of the United States told you this, you'd probably be more justified in believing it, right?
Okay, let me back up a little bit. You said something interesting there. Why would you not trust Trump?
I mean, it was more like kind of a joke, but
no,
but Trump is not. I mean, he's not a trustworthy person, in my opinion. So
why though?
Because he's been shown to lie.
What's fallacious? What's he made? What's he done that's like false?
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up because I don't really feel like talking about why Trump's a jackass. But
it's fine. Hey, you're on the right channel, but
yeah, I mean, I hate Trump. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, atheists and theists coming together on politics. Yeah. He does tell some porky pies, mind. He does. He gets into it. He does. Anyway, shout out to Mark of Legend in the chat. What's he got here? Okay, I'm going to read this one question and I'm going to hand it over to Austin. Austin, you've been a sport. I think this is to you, Sparty. What about indigenous people never hearing the word of God? Do they go to hell? What if they never learn of Jesus? What if, hold on, it just disappeared. Or is that the question that was just asked? I didn't ask it, so I don't know if somebody else did.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that. Like, I don't think there's any reason to believe that they would just go to hell if they have no chance. I don't know. It just seems ridiculous. I think God judges you based on, like I said, your intentions, like what you would have believed based on these. Maybe I don't know exactly what. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like the reason that person asked that question is because it doesn't make any sense to think that someone on an island that never really had a chance, was never even exposed to Christianity, would just go to hell. And I agree.
Roger that. Well, Sparty, Dr. Spartan Theology, it's been a pleasure, my friend. And Austin, over to you, bud.
Awesome. What's up, Sparty? Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. It's been a little while. I've been like busy with stuff and then focused on my channel too. So we haven't really talked too much, but it's good to be on.
No problem. It's good to see you on. And so I know you brought up faith a few minutes ago, and that's one thing that I do enjoy discussing with theists and their perspective on that. So before we even, I guess, really delve into it and get too deep into it, what is your definition of faith? How do you define faith?
I would just say trust.
Just trust.
Trust. Yeah.
Okay. So when I look in the dictionary, I got it pulled up here. Complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Would you align with that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So taking that definition, you and I being on the same page, uh, now applying that to a God claim or a supernatural claim, um, how does faith get us to the existence of a God?
Yeah. See, that's why, I struggle. I don't understand. I don't, trust isn't something you use to figure out if something's true or not. I don't know. It doesn't
Well,
lead us.
well, and I'm not trying. I promise you, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to
No. Feel free to
swear.
push back wherever.
Because the one thing I know on that is, in Romans it says that faith, or I'm sorry, in Philippians, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Then in Romans, it talks about we are, if we're Christians, we're saved by grace through faith. So there's a lot of things piled on there when it comes to that word. So I would agree that I have, because I hear apologists say it, like, yes, I do have trust or faith that when I sat in my office chair tonight to do this podcast with you guys, that it was going to hold up, right? Like I've done, but I've been able to demonstrate that over and over and over again that this chair is going to stand up. That has nothing to do with a God claim. So that's what I'm asking is, how does faith, in just a simple dictionary definition, how does faith, a trust or a confidence in someone or something, get us to the existence of a God? Because the Bible said that that's how Christians are saved.
Yeah, I guess we're missing. What do you think we're saved just because we say we know God exists or something? I don't know. I guess that's where the
No.
misunderstanding is between us.
Okay, so again, in Romans, it says that Christians are saved by grace through faith. So you have to go through faith. That's your pathway. Your pathway is faith.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that faith get you to the existence of a God?
Yeah, see, you're changing it to the existence of a God. I'd say the faith, right there, it's talking about this faith is applied to us, or however it works, and we through that faith we have trust to accomplish the things that are required to be saved.
Well, I would push back on that in Romans, because Romans is talking about salvation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't it's pretty. I'm learning a lot about theology, and it seems really difficult to I just learned that there's this whole apocalyptic perspective on Paul, which shows how I would say and not to say anything put you down or whatever, but there's plenty of scholars that would highly disagree with your interpretation right here. So if your interpretation leads to a contradiction, then it's probably wrong.
Well, and that's fine, and they can, because I mean I have the definition pulled up as we're speaking. Yeah. I have the dictionary definitions pulled up, so those are what they are. So it's not a matter of trying to argue. It's let's just speak facts. Let's go through it and what that means. So then, if it's not faith,
go ahead.
If it's not faith, and like I said, I'm 100% not trying to argue. I'm trying to get down to what faith is to you. So you said it is trust. So then let's eliminate the word faith. How did that trust lead you to believe that God exists?
Yeah, see, I don't know. It didn't.
Okay, so then what convinced you then? If it wasn't a trust or it wasn't a faith, what convinced you that God is real?
Yeah, I'd say I went over that, and it's just kind of a personal experience, hearing all these different arguments, the way it made perfect sense in my head, and just all kind of all just clicked it together, and before I knew it, I was a Christian.
Okay, all right. And that's why I'm actually glad that we had a little bit of a traffic jam there on faith, so that we get through that, because I wanted to get back to what you said when you were talking to Pasta, and you just went there. So we can eliminate faith now at this point, because I don't think that that's part of the conversation. So now, part of what you just said, the one thing that stood out to me is you talked about a Bible study that you went to, this Bible study, and you felt something, or you felt a certain way, whatever. And I'm not trying to demean it. That was my interpretation of it. In that Bible study, you felt something. What did you feel?
To me, the best I can, it's like, obviously it's hard to like describe a experience or whatever like that to someone else, for sure. But like the one thing I've like noticed, and like it just was like a clear thing. Like, have you ever like heard, like, okay, so before I was a Christian, if I was like skimming through TikTok, we'll put that because it wasn't around, but TikTok's like a perfect example. If I was skimming through TikTok and I saw a Christian video, I would just you know, like, I don't want to see that. Like, these people are ridiculous or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm in a Bible study, feel this like presence of the Holy Spirit, like it all just like so many things just like made sense. And then like it just so happens like I see these same Christian videos, and it's almost like like I want to watch them now. And like, so all of a sudden my desire is just like shifted, which doesn't seem like I've ever been able to do that with anything else. Like, and not that that proves it to someone else, for sure. You can't like just take my word, but like it would almost be like if, say, I think a good way to describe it is, say like you hate chocolate ice cream, you only like vanilla ice cream, and no one can tell you like you like chocolate ice cream. You just don't. You know what I mean? Like, you put it in your mouth, you spit it out. It's disgusting to you. And then people are telling you like you have to like chocolate ice cream in order to get to heaven. And you're just like, well, as basically like an atheist, I can't believe that. I don't like it. There's nothing I can do. And then all of a sudden one day you just like, chocolate ice cream is your favorite thing you've ever put in your mouth. You know, it seems odd to think that would just be like, I don't know, you didn't want, like, it just happened all of a sudden. So to describe how that I don't know how that happened, but all of a sudden, like, the same Christian videos that I would have not wanted to watch were the only thing I did want to watch.
Okay, no, that and all that's very interesting, and I appreciate going in depth on that. So then my follow-up question would be then, you had that experience, but then for someone like myself that I honestly do want to know more true things than not, and that really is my goal. How do I experience what you experienced? How do I duplicate that? Where do I find that? How do I tap into that?
I don't know. I think you have to be open to the truth and just seek the truth and see where it leads you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not. I don't know. Okay,
so Ethan, as someone that was a Bible believing Christian for 30 years, and I saw it and I chased and I did all of those things and pursued it. I really do want to know more of those answers. So one of the key things that I heard you say when you're talking about that, that you felt something, you went through that, and you said you had a change of mind. What was it through those feelings or emotions or whatever it was? And I'm not demeaning them or minimizing them, but through that personal experience that you had, what was it that changed your mind? Because that would be your convincing moment. What was it that changed your mind? What was that convinced Ethan now that this God exists?
Yeah, I don't know. It was almost like I just felt the presence of God in the room. Like, I just was like able to say things. Like, I remember turning to everybody there and like just being like, like I actually finally realized that like, not only like his God exists, like maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but like he does, like he's right here. He's with us in this room and he's been there the whole time. So it's like all of a sudden you just look to the side and you realize that this God he's right there. He's always been there. And you just weren't able to see him. And now I was able to see him. So I don't know that's how I would describe it. I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's kind of what happened.
Okay. And how would I come to know that or experience it? Like for someone that wants to know that or wants to experience that, how do we get to that point, Ethan? How do we get to experience what you experienced? Because that's what, if this God is real, that's what we're searching for. That's what we want to know. So if you experienced it and you had that in your life and you got to have that moment with God, what's the best way? I'm not saying it has to be exactly the way it happened to you, but what's the best way to get to that point? Like, how do we get there?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but like something, I guess maybe. So you said like, so you say you were a Christian. And I know I've heard you were a Christian for a long time. Like, would you say you've never had an experience like that?
Without going into an 2 hour long conversation.
Yeah, just yes or no. Like,
Yeah,
would you
yeah.
say you've ever had an experience like that?
I thought I did. Yes,
Okay, but now you would say no, obviously.
correct.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how you would have an experience like that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought I had like a better, but you're right. I don't know how. I just think you have to be open to the truth, and I think I'm not like you're probably telling the truth that you're open to the truth, but I mean, some people aren't, right? Like some people are like they don't want to be a Christian. They like love their sin or whatever. Like that's true for some people. I think that's ridiculous claim when Christians try and say that like that's what all atheists, they just love their sin and they just hate God. That's so stupid. But like some people don't want to believe God exists. And if you're not one of those people, like that's all I say is make sure you're not one of those people, because that's definitely not the way to truth. I think you would agree, right? Like just presupposing that God doesn't exist isn't how we come to truth, just like presupposing he does. But if you're open to the truth and seeking truth, then I don't know how you actually get to the end, but I think it's more about the journey than the destination.
Okay. Well, and first, before I wrap it up and we go down the Q&A path here and start lighting it up and have a little more fun. The one thing I will say is 100% equally, there are atheists, skeptics, non-believers, and theists, Christians, whatever you want to call yourself. There are parties in both camps that can be 100% asshats, right? Let's just make it known. It's not on one side or the other. There are plenty of people on both sides of the conversation that can be absurd and ridiculous. And this is what Ethan, we definitely need to have you on again to further this conversation, because I think even this could go. We could have fun with this because. Yeah, with your experience now and where I come from, there's a lot of things I think we could bounce off of each other. But let's go in the Q&A before I waste a bunch more time just running circles and causing questions that don't need to be asked right now. So Ben is back on screen. Ben's going to help us with the Q&A. And Ben, long time no see, man. I haven't seen you in a while. What's up, buddy?
Well, I was about to ask a question. I think I even typed it in our chat, but I see it in our comments as well. Geo Sam says, how does Spartan apply his faith in everyday life? So that was actually a question that I had was, in what ways does your God belief like affect your behavior?
Yeah, I saw it in the chat. I was thinking about it, and like, I don't know, like directly how. I mean, obviously, like it's more of like a big picture thing or whatever. Like, obviously, because I believe in God, I go to church and I care about different. I'm like friends with different people than I probably would be if I was an atheist, so I wouldn't have met them at church. So, like, that's a big change. Like, I care. I think. I don't know. I don't think I would be a different, like you said, like you realize, like giving up your belief, you're still the same person. So I think I would still be the same person. Yeah. I don't, sometimes like, I feel like people start thinking about like what they believe actually like changes reality or something. I don't really understand that. Like if I just change my belief, then God could still be just as real and I could still be doing the right thing because like he set this objective moral standard or whatever. I don't think like I'm not getting into the moral argument, but just I like some of these things. I think the only way to have the conversation is just assume that Christianity is true, or else we're just going to stay at step one, right? Like I can kind of move forward and say, well, if the standard is there, I could be an atheist and still follow it. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really like directly, like I don't do something just because the Bible says so or whatever. Like I think like overall, like, yeah, like my worldview is based around this thing, but it's hard to say like one specific.
Well, and I was about to say if like, so it's interesting, Mark's in the comments again. He's trying to point out some contradictions within, I guess, some of the foundational theologies that I know like conservative Christian thought goes along with. But I wanted to, especially like as we're coming up on the end of the show, I just really wanted to bring it around to, I think we're on the same page in most aspects of our lives, like between you and an atheist, and in fact, like, so a lot of like the, I guess like I'm struggling really to find a difference. I guess, do you believe like there's eternal consequences for our beliefs? Like that would be like the biggest question I have.
I don't believe in eternal conscious torment, if that's what you're getting at.
But, but like eternal consequences for finite issues. Or I don't know.
I'm trying to figure that one out myself. Okay. I wouldn't say my belief is very strong. Like right now, I think like based on everything else, I think I do believe you could trust the Bible, and I think the Bible. I think my interpretation is it speaks of like annihilationism is like what I hold to. So that would definitely be eternal consequences, like you're annihilated, done. But how confident I am in that belief, that's like a secondary thing. I'm definitely not super confident because there's people that, I've had an interview with a guy on my channel the other day who's a universalist, and he's a Bible, like he believes the Bible teaches universalism, and everyone ends up reconciled to God at the end. So, yeah, I don't know as far as what the end looks like. It'd be a weird thing to claim I did know.
Yeah, well, I know that we're switching around some screens here. If I had to keep going, I guess the other thing, I'm a person who likes to measure progress throughout like a conversation or like that's just something I do. It's like, okay, like I start at one weight. If I'm trying to lose 5 pounds, I got to be able to measure myself. If we were to try like the street epistemology thing again, what kind of reasons would you give starting out now based on our conversation?
Yeah, so, I guess I might give a little different reasons because now I see like it's I don't know. I realize that like the street epistemology thing, it's less about like what are your reasons? Because like if somebody asks you like, what are your reasons? I just give my reasons. But the street epistemology seems to be pointing out like, what do you believe are the best reasons to believe? So I guess I would give a completely different, like not a completely different answer, but I would give different reasons, but more for the reason that I understand the question is something different than I thought it was at the beginning.
Yeah, and I love that method because I apply it to myself every day. I'm like, which car should I get? Why do I think that? Like, is this guy just selling me on it because he's being nice, or whatever it is? But street epistemology is like a really good like internal tool as well, or for everyday beliefs. So it's not so much like about your journey to me. It's more like when you strip away your journey, then what is there? And I'm really glad that, honestly, nothing can make me more happy at the end of this conversation than to hear you realize that that's kind of the way those conversations to me should go. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Hey, Sparty, man, what a good sport you are to come on here, get your ass handed to you by everybody. No, man. Hey, we really appreciate
that.
I was in the same conversation where that happened, but
two different perspectives. They're two different books.
Yeah.
No, you're my favorite Dr. Spartan Theology. Hey, go follow Spartan Theology. Check his channel out on the YouTubes. And again, shout out to Mark of Legend in the chat. Big fans of Mark of Legend. He's a returning guest. Hey, go check out Mark's TikTok. He's been doing some shadow work, tutorials in his live feeds. Check out Mark, man. He's a cool guy. Hey, Ben, you got anything before we hit them credits?
Hey, you can follow me on TikTok at Benji Atheist. I'm also on Twitter at the same handle. Those are the only two things I can think of.
Oh yeah, we're gonna leave. Hey, Ben, is it okay if we leave Oz out of this?
I'm fine.
Yeah. Hey, let's get Jeff back in here real quick. Let's get Jeff in here because I think he's doing his hair. Let's see. Oh, there he is. There's the little guy.
Hi.
Hey,
How
there's
are you?
the fella. Hey, Jeff, you got anything before we
I just want to thank Ethan for coming out here and listening to us rant and rave and talk about dumb stuff. And I really like Ben. I think he's a really good example of how the epistemology process should work. So, fun fact, Ben, Pasta tells me, like, as we're getting to know each other, he's like, oh yeah, you do epistemology, and I'm like, the hell are you talking about? Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard this word before. And he's like, you don't practice epistemology? I'm like, no, it's just, what are you talking about? It's just how I ask questions. Like, that's not, I don't know what you mean. So then, of course, he turns me on to Magna Bosco stuff, and I start watching it and starting to figure out, I'm like, holy shit, this is exactly what I needed to see on how to ask questions, like it just to how to find truth, how to build knowledge, how to understand how other people think and talk, and take what I was doing that was taking 20, 30 minutes down to something that takes 5 to 10 minutes, you know?
Right.
So now, of course, the better we get, and now I hear somebody else that you have your own flavor. Like,
yeah,
you have your own flavor of it, and that gives me another twist, and I kind of like yours better.
Oh,
so,
man.
So I like watching and listening to it, and it's really good.
Well, my heart is happy. Thank you.
Yeah, for the record, I used to hear Jeff in the Discord. He'd be chatting in the Discord, and the way he would probe into the theists, worldview and things. I by the way, I didn't say you're doing epistemology. That's not what I said. I think Jeff is kind of misinterpreting the thing. I asked him, is he familiar with
you sound exactly 100% like Anthony Magna Bosco. And you must have been like, you're his son.
No, I said you have hair just like him. You have the same hairline and everything. But I asked him, I said, are you familiar with what epistemology is? Because you're really getting into how they find their knowledge. And he's like, no, don't know what that is. Is that like Kung Fu or something? I was like, no, nothing at all. And next thing you know, Jeff's into it. So that's a compliment there, Ben.
Yeah, thank you.
But anyway, where's Austin?
His contact fell out.
Oh, there he is.
He couldn't see us.
Hey, shout out to Grumpy Old Cuss from Man in the Fort in the chat. He's the local security guard down there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Geo Sam again. Hey, Geo Sam took care of Ben. I don't know if you guys know, he revamped Jeff's picture.
Yeah, it looks 100%. Like, I didn't know it could get better, but it got better.
Yeah, so he revamped Jeff, and he got Ben's hooked up.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know who it was exactly, so thank you, Geo Sam. That's awesome.
That's this fella right here. It's Geo Sam right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that boy.
Yeah. You can. And anybody else is in the chat. I know we got a bunch of folks. We got the JDM Apologetics. Chase, if you're still up, son, get you some fish. Get you some fish. Get you some fish sticks, young man. And hey, Austin, you got anything, buddy?
Wrapping the show.